Welcome back. Today is day 2 of jury selection in the murder trial of Alex Murdaugh. Murdaugh was seen here arriving at court this morning. He is the once prominent lawyer in South Carolina who is now facing 2 first-degree murder charges for killing his son and his wife, according to police. Now, the pair were found dead from gunshot wounds near their family's hunting estate back in June of 2021. You might remember this case. Murdaugh was indicted after a 13-month-long investigation, and he continues to deny that he killed his family. Prosecutors are not seeking the death penalty, but they will request life in prison without the possibility of parole. The minimum sentence after a guilty conviction here would be 30 years. The disgraced lawyer called the police after finding his dead wife and son, but blood found on his shirt quickly prompted investigators to turn to him as a suspect. Prosecutors and the defense are debating whether to allow an expert to testify that the blood was splattered when his son was shot. Now, also cell phone evidence shows that Murdaugh was last at the crime scene at the same time as the murders, contradicting his initial statements that he was visiting his mother and father. Prosecutors have not yet released any details on direct evidence tying Murdaugh to these murders, and no confession or witness statements have been filed in the case yet. Now, according to the Associated Press, Murdaugh is also facing about 100 different criminal counts, charges stemming from millions of dollars in theft, settlements, and committing fraud, as well as running a drug and money laundering ring and evading taxes as well. It's quite a list. Let's get insight and legal analysis now from criminal defense attorney Susan Williams. She's been practicing law in South Carolina for nearly 2 decades. Susan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so a 13-month-long investigation. Murdaugh was indicted in July of 2021. It does seem like it took a while to get to trial. Is that normal, or what are the circumstances surrounding the timeline here?
When the state decides they're going to charge someone with something, they need to have all of their ducks in a row. And with this case being as high profile as it is, I believe that that is basically what this state was doing, getting their ducks in a row, making sure that all the evidence is tied up and ready to go for trial.
Now, it's also reported that prosecutors are expected to rely heavily on the evidence of these other crimes that we mentioned that he's accused of. They believe that the death of his wife and son have garnered sympathy and allowed him to hide from his other crimes. What do you think about that strategy?
Well, we're still waiting on the judge to decide on whether or not those prior bad acts will be admissible, but I can see it from both sides. The state wants to have their theory that all of these financial crimes added up and sort of the walls just came tumbling down for Mr. Murdaugh, and then the defense wants to say these are completely unrelated. You've got the wrong guy, and they want the state to find the right person who should be charged with murder. They, of course, contend that it is not Mr. Murdaugh.
I know high-profile cases can present challenges, especially with today's media environment. But when you have someone who's a defendant like this, like Mr. Murdaugh, who is an attorney, who's so well known in the legal community in South Carolina, I would imagine that presents its own set of challenges.
Absolutely. It seems like everything about this case from either side of it is just very unusual. And the trick with getting a jury of 12 is finding 12 people who, despite what they've heard or think they've heard about Mr. Murdaugh, or what they know, or whether they've known him at work or as a family friend, or they've been clients, they have to be able to be impartial, to be ready to be on this jury. They can't just say, I know him, so I can't be on it. They have to be impartial, and that's what our system depends on.
Yeah, in a broader sense, it does seem like that's getting harder and harder to find.
Sure, yes. And of course, the jury selection, it doesn't seem like the sexiest thing that there is about a trial, but it is absolutely one of the most important things, if not the most important part of a trial, because his life literally is in the hands of these jurors. As far as his future and what happens to him, whether he's convicted or not.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting case to watch play out, and a very difficult job for both attorneys on the defense and prosecution to find a jury of his peers to make sure he can get a fair hearing here, as everyone deserves in this country. Susan Williams, Great to have you with us. We appreciate your legal insights on this case.
Thank you.